Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Two for Talking podcast. I'm your host, Corey Tusick. We've got comedian Joe Bartnick. You can check him out on February 17th at Shamrock Comedy Club in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And that sounds like a nice Valentine's Day present for somebody out there.
Yeah, for me.
Nothing says romance like Fort Lauderdale. I like it. Hit the elbow room afterwards. It'll be great.
And if you want to check out his other tour dates, if you're not in Florida, go to joebartnick.com as always. And of course, we have the great Josh Yohe with The Athletic, and we want to thank our sponsors, Bill Neofis of Neofis Insurance and Danny's Pizza and Hoagies. We'll hear more from them later, but boys, let's do the opening shift here and hop over the boards and get into it. The Penguins are in second place in the Metro Division. How did that happen? Where did that come from? We've got a lot to talk about. We've got trade rumors. We've got trade news. But yeah, let's hop over the boards and let's talk about the Penguins doing what we love the most, and that is beating the Philadelphia Flyers.
Joe, lead it off. I know how you feel about the Flyers. I would like you to bat lead off. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'll take the draw. Last week at this time, we were like, oh my God, we got to play Tampa Bay. Then heaven forbid we lose to Philly. And then little brother's coming to town and Columbus because then we got to go on the road. So what happens? We were like in 10th place, I think, this time. And now we're in third place because the Fishermen won last night, Corey, probably after you went to bed because you have young kids. But there was a moment when we were in second place, which is fantastic. Gino Machino saved us versus Tampa with the goalie pulled. And then the Flyer game, Josh, I was there. Your buddy, your co-author, whatever that term is, my friend and one of my heroes, the great 2-9er, the old Phil Bourque, he loved the fans were chanting Flyers suck. Just an absolute dominating performance. Blake Lizotte gets a goal, wins the fight against the Flyers. 6-3. We crushed them, Josh. That might have been it was definitely one of the top 3 or 4 games of the year. And of course, they stole a loser point against Columbus. And then they went out and they took care of business against Seattle. So I'll let you, Josh.
First of all, I was all proud of myself. Like, ooh, I got like a little dramatic Rocky Mountain sunset behind me for the background. Then I see Joe with a goddamn penguin behind him. Like, I can't keep up with that.
Well, Rachel's like, you want to everyone see my bedroom? I'm like, well, I don't know how to change that. So tap with a stick to Rachel Adams.
Well done. It was a really good week for the Penguins, and we didn't even mention that they did it without Erik Karlsson, who has been, without question, one of their best players all season long. And to go 2-0-2 to get 6 out of 8 points. I know everybody was upset about the shootout issues, which have continued again for not only the Penguin shooters, but also their goaltenders, especially Artur Shilov's. I get it, but 6 out of 8 points is still 6 out of 8. And Crosby and Malkin with 2 of the most dramatic goals of the season, both of them scored with the goaltender pulled to carry the Penguins into overtime. Those were 2 of my favorite moments of the season because, Joe, I'm just convinced, not that they come out and say it really, but being around Crosby and Malkin all the time, there's a defiance about them right now. They are just going to do anything in their power to will this team to the playoffs. You can feel it. And to score those 2 goals in the situations that they scored them, that was great theater in Pittsburgh. It really was.
Josh, I thought that Gino, not on the score sheet in Seattle, I thought that was one of his best games. It looked like 2010-9 playoff Gino. He was flying. He was everywhere. Just a real quick point on Sid's goal. I know Staggy was like, you just gotta love Letang. How did he know Crosby was there? It's like, or he knew he was there, but he said he thought the pass was amazing. No, that's Letang never hitting the net. That's Sid. That was the guy. I'm sure Letang tried to score on that shot. He wasn't trying to find a stick. He just never hits the net. It's just genius that Sid knows that and knows exactly where to put it.
Like Dennis Rodman, I'm sure knew who was going to throw up a clanker and I got to get to this part of the backboard for this one.
I would suggest that Karlsson and Letang just refuse to shoot on net. They're always looking for a stick. So maybe Sid just thought, well, he's not going to shoot. He's clearly going to throw a pass. One way or the other, it was a great goal. My favorite part of the goal was the way Sid pointed right at Letang, which was Sid's way of saying, great pass, that made the whole play happen. when really he like made this deflection that almost nobody in the world could make, and he's probably scored that goal 15 or 20 times. Just an incredible play. And as for the game in Seattle, you're right, Joe. Gino was really good. I thought everybody was pretty good in that game. I thought that was just a professional, workman-like performance against a Seattle team that's not terrible. You're on the road. You had a long flight. Then you have an afternoon game the next day. That kind of sounds like the old built-in scheduled loss a little bit. But instead, Joe, I thought the Penguins took it to them.
Josh, it was a game, and I hate to bury Sully when he's in last place in the conference, but it was a game they lose the last couple of years.
Oh yeah. God, yeah.
Right, Corey? Right? I mean they gave up a 2-0 lead, and all of a sudden they're going to take 3 stupid penalties. And it's going to be 4-2, and then they're going to score one late, but it's not going to be enough. That was the blueprint. And what they did, they slammed the door. It's 2-2. They get the next 2, and that's just the way it is. And I am very, very, very impressed with Skinner. And I'm going to say this in front of the whole world and 40 to 50,000 listeners. Brett Kulak has played great the last 2 weeks, and so has Christopher Letang.
Christopher, it's funny. It's almost like 2 negatives create a positive. You know what I mean? Like it's like Carlson goes out and Letang's playing this way, and then all of a sudden, I don't know if it's like, I wanted to ask both of you guys what you think. I mean, did he all of a sudden feel like, hey, I got to be a little more responsible? I don't know what happened. Like something changed, and it happened right when Carlson goes out.
First of all, before I get to Letang, I wanted to mention you mentioned Skinner, and you mentioned last year that's the kind of game they would have lost. Seattle had a breakaway a minute into the game. That's a goal every single time last season. I think it was the first shot of the game too. Or maybe
that's a great point.
We know how that went. Skinner, like you look at the box score, he stopped 20 of 23. Yeah, he just played okay. No, he was actually pretty good. And he was really good when he had to be in certain moments, and that was one of them. So I wanted to mention him. He's given up 10 goals in his last 5 games. He is really, really playing well. As for Letang, I sincerely think the previous 4 games were his best 4 games of the season. I really believe that. He was phenomenal. He was unbelievable. I thought the overtime against Columbus, even though they lost in a shootout, those 5 minutes in the overtime was the best we've seen him play in a couple of years. He was unbelievable during the 3-on-3. And you could not ignore the reality that he's doing this during the time when Carlson's out. I mean, so is it responsibility on his part to say, all right, I better shoulder the load here. Carlson's out, maybe. Is it Letang saying, I'm going to remind you how good I still am, since you all love Carlson so much. I'm going to show you what I can still do. Maybe it was a little bit of both. And we should mention, by the way, he might not play tomorrow night in Calgary. The Penguins are calling him day-to-day with an injury. He hasn't been ruled out yet, but it sounds like Carlson's not playing either. So even though the Flames aren't very good, both of them out of the lineup, that could be a real problem for the Penguins.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all, because I thought there was some good news that EK was on the trip.
I mean, he practiced today with the no contact jersey. He told us afterwards he wasn't playing tomorrow. With him, you never know, because he's kind of like a comedian, Joe. He's never really serious all the time. It came across as he wasn't playing. It was kind of weird. He did not play on the power play, which is usually a sign that he's not going to play the next day. Do you know who was running the power play with Letang and Carlson out?
Kulak.
Ryan Shea.
Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah, I asked him about it. I said, what the hell was up with that? He said, I don't know. I'm just trying to give the Hall of Famers the puck. So, all right, fair enough.
You know what? That's actually a really underrated thing that, there's a lot of people that don't do that, and it can be really help the power play sometimes.
I thought it would be Kulak as well. So I don't know for sure that both are out, but it's certainly a possibility. So that's a problem if they are in Calgary. It's a real problem if they are the next night in Edmonton, I would think.
Well, I don't mind it so much in Calgary, because basically we don't need anybody taking chances anyway, and we can just throw some more raw meat against that team in Calgary.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's going to be a 2-1 game anyway, because the way Calgary plays. Obviously, you don't want. I mean, I don't want Letang. We need them both. But I will say this: I know I said Ryan. I thought Graves. You didn't even call his name once, because he played a steady game.
He was good
in Seattle, and
Clifton was good too. By the way, he's been real good the last couple of games.
Yeah, I mean, St. Ivany to me is a minor leaguer. I like Jack, but I think he can be upgraded. I mean, obviously he can be upgraded, but I mean, I think there's guys.
I think he's a great 7th defenseman.
Right.
Not great, but I think that's where he lives.
Might be. That's where he is right now anyway, for sure. But yeah, I really liked how they played in Seattle. And their forward depth, again, like the fourth line, Connor Dewar, 2 more goals. Brazo with a big goal. Just everywhere throughout the lineup. And right when I was about to say, the first line's been kind of quiet, all of a sudden Sid finishes with a couple of helpers and makes an unbelievable play to set up Raquel's goal. And Rickard Raquel is starting to heat up a little bit. And that is no small thing. He really hasn't been himself. Obviously, he had the hand injury. Hasn't really looked himself most of the year. He's starting to heat up now. That's a really big deal for the Penguins. So how can you not feel good about the way they're playing right now?
How about Shinnikov? Shinnikov, how great is that? I mean, him and Gino got some mental telepathy going there.
Yeah, it looks like they do. And every time he shoots the puck, you think it might go in. He's just got that kind of release. I'm like, looking at his numbers in Columbus, thinking like, how did this kid not score more goals?
Because he was playing with Boone Jenner.
Maybe that's it. Because I mean, the way he can skate and the way the puck comes off of his blade, oh my God. And I see we've got somebody saying, can we get Shinnikov out there in overtime? Here. I could not agree more. He's got the skill set for it. There's no question.
I don't know when we can dive into, maybe after Bill, we can dive into the shootout woes because I have some numbers. But I will say this. I love the way Ben Kindle was played. But I think he might just need a day off. But, and Corey's going to love this, not with Mr. Hayes coming in.
Yeah.
I mean, bring up Bros. Bring up Bros for the night. Well, I just think Kindle needs a day off.
I do really too. I think he probably has hit a bit of a wall. I doubt it happens on this trip, only because Vancouver's his hometown. Calgary is where he played his junior hockey. He had his billet parents here today, and people here to see him play. I do feel like, listen, he's 18 years old, and he's not just playing in the NHL. He's playing some fairly heavy minutes. A lot of defensive responsibilities, playing against bigger men. He was talking about life in the NHL today. It's great when 18-year-olds kind of simplify the way they look at the game. He said, well, they're bigger and they're faster in this league. That's such of an obvious thing, but it's true. And it does take a while for your body to adapt to that. And he's not a big kid to begin with. So I get the sense that you are correct, Joe. I think he does need a break. The cool thing about him, and he hasn't scored in a while, and that's an issue, but he's such of a damn smart player that even on nights when maybe he doesn't have his legs, he just always makes the right play. He never hurts you when he's on the ice because he's so smart.
No, he's playing great defensively. He's never out of place. He's back checking. He's hustling. I just think a guy like that hasn't scored in 18 games that really can score. It just seems like he just might need a breather.
Yeah, no, I do. And I think the Olympic break will be great for him. I think it'll be great for the whole team. Like, how good Gino looks right now?
Oh.
Like, I really think part of that's because he had a month off. Like, we saw that last year, too. He got hurt. I think it was in Seattle last season. He missed a few weeks. Looked like a different guy when he came back. I think Gino's, he's going to be 40 in July. He's in a phase in his career where playing 82 games a year might not be what's best for him. And if they make a playoff run and you're playing close to 100 games at his age, that's tough. We've seen when he plays 60 to 65 games, he looks like Gino still on most nights. So I do think that time off, even though it hurt the Penguins being without him, it probably helped him. And I think the Olympic break will help him as well.
We want to be younger. We want to get younger. And I know some people around town are like, they're missing the plot. We should be getting younger. We shouldn't be chasing the playoffs, and young kids should play. And, Koivunen didn't look like he fit in. Now, obviously, I don't want Hayes. But where does McGroarty fit in on this lineup? I know when I love the team and we're winning, I love the team all the time. But when we're winning, it's all of a sudden they become the 77 Canadians, and you can't find a spot for somebody. But if McGroarty does put up good numbers, which he probably will in Wilkes-Barre, who comes out? I'm a Novak guy.
And is this strictly a rehab assignment, or because they could have phrased it that way, right? And they didn't.
Think it is, although it wasn't really specified. That's a fair point. And he did have the healthy scratch a couple of days before he was hurt, and he wasn't really playing that well. And to answer the question, Joe, I don't think Rucker McGroarty does go into the lineup when he's healthy, quite honestly. Who's going to come out?
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe on the odd night Kindle comes out, you throw him in and put somebody else at center, okay. But when I look at this team, we know what the top line is, but we know what the fourth line is. So then you look at the middle six, and Brazo and Mantha aren't coming out. Tommy Novak's playing really well. He's not coming out.
I love Novak.
Eno's not coming out. Kindle's not coming out. Shinnikov's not coming out. There's your top 12. And I know a lot of people, you got to play the young guys. No, you don't. Like, you're trying to make the playoffs. I understand that, yes, the young guys need developed, but that doesn't mean you just throw a bunch of 19 or 20-year-olds out there and say, we're committed to the youth movement. You still have to earn that playing time. And now we're, 35 games left or whatever it is. You're 3 points clear of Washington for a playoff spot. It's not really a time to piss around and experiment with young players. Now, if Rucker wants to play well in Wilkes-Barre and when somebody gets hurt, you throw him in, hopefully he's ready to play better than he did before, but I don't think that's necessarily the priority for the next few months.
Yeah, it's different than years past, these last couple of years, where, it's like, we'll play the young guys, you might as well, because you didn't have people that were going, and like you said, I mean, you have your top 12, who's coming in, who's going to come out, and I don't know if you guys feel this way about the team, but with all these random, with Chinnikov coming in, and I'm not saying Skinner's the guy, but it almost feels like this ragtag group that's kind of coming together. And I'm not saying they're going to go on a Stanley Cup run, but I don't know. I can feel like they could make some noise in the playoffs and win around. They all of a sudden have guys, and it's kind of a team that makes sense. You know what I mean? You can see where everybody pulls a different lever and gets it going forward.
Yeah, I mean,
Corey, I thought you were going to tilt the question a little bit of a different way, but I will go your way and say, let's say they do win a round, or let's say they go 7 games, right? What part of this lineup does it make you think that maybe if you add Miroshov, that you just can't kind of keep and add 2 better defensemen somewhere in there, that you just don't keep this young lineup minus Sid and Gino are young enough? Novak's not old. Chinnikov is not old. Brazo is not old. Mo Mantha's not that old. The fourth line isn't that old. Maybe you move a Char up. It's all of a sudden we're playing a bunch of old guys. They're just not 19.
Yeah,
no, I agree. And by the way, do I think the Penguins are a championship contender? No, I certainly do not. However, if you agree that they have a real chance to make the playoffs, and obviously they do, let's look at the standings and where they are right now and how much time's left in the season. Sure, they have a chance. Right now, their road in the playoffs would be like the Islanders and Carolina in the first 2 rounds. You mean to tell me they couldn't beat either of those teams in a series?
Yeah.
I think they could. I'm not saying they would, but I don't think we would be looking at those series like, oh boy, they're going to get swept. No, not at all. The Metro's the worst division in the league right now. The East is not good. They have themselves an opportunity right now, and I'm not suggesting you ignore younger players, but let's be honest. Koivunen was terrible when he was in Pittsburgh this year. McGroarty wasn't bad, but I thought he was just okay, and he's frankly being outplayed by other players right now. So, okay, you go with your best guys. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't blame the Penguins in the least. The goaltending is interesting because Shelovs has been better lately. He hasn't been great. I would not be adverse to them bringing up Miroshov at some point and pairing him with Skinner if they felt that was the way to go. I do think Skinner's their best goalie right now, though, and I think he needs to be playing more than 50% of the time. Especially
with the shootout the way it's going. Yeah, we're 9-1-4 in the Metro.
Yeah.
I mean, what
that gets your attention.
What I'm just trying to double down on Corey's point is Igor and Novak and Brazo, they're not old.
No.
Yeah.
So saying we are kind of we're getting younger with those guys. They're just not 18. That's all.
And they're not just new draft picks.
And all these other guys, McGroarty, Koivunen, Avery Hayes, Bros. I know everybody wants to see them up, but they can still marinate in Wilkes-Barre and get better. And so when next season comes around or whenever, they're a couple of years older now, and they probably are more equipped to thrive in the NHL than maybe they were this year or the year before. That's okay too. Guys don't need to. I just feel like some fans just are so obsessed with having all the guys from Wilkes-Barre in the lineup at once and just starting this new movement. It doesn't always happen that way. You don't want them all showing up simultaneously, and you can still develop and get better at lower levels of hockey. That's okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Corey.
Oh no, I was just gonna say the only time I remember that working was like whenever like Rusty and Sherry and all those guys came up in 16. Like that was the only time there was like a group of them.
Right.
Go ahead, Joe.
Well, to jump on that point though, I mean that's when we were terrible, and that was the Mike Johnston era. So everyone could. I mean, they could bring guys from Wheeling that would play better than the guys that were playing. No, but I players know who deserves ice and who doesn't. And with 35 games left, you owe it to Sid and Gino not to make this a, hey, let's see who's going to be good in 3 years on this franchise.
I think you owe it to the fan base and to the city as well. Haven't had playoff hockey in Pittsburgh since 2022. It's been 4 years. And listen, I understand the big picture here is the future, and it should be. Kyle Dubas wasn't brought in to try to resuscitate this group. He was brought in to build something for the future. But he's doing that, and he's doing a very good job of that. If along the way you get to the playoffs maybe one final time with Crosby and Malkin and Letang, you have to go for that. That's just because you might not win the Stanley Cup doesn't mean it's not a great season and a great story. You have to go for that. And by the way, from a business standpoint, like it's been a big story, and rightfully so. You go to a lot of games, Joe. There's a lot of empty seats some nights. We know it. Ticket sales have been a real problem. You make the playoffs. Guess what? You're helping your season ticket sales. You're making new fans every day. That goes a long way.
Yeah,
there's been empty seats, but I will say the Canadian. Well, there's 10,000 people in the building. I guess that was once, as I was told on DVE. But I don't know. I've been to five sold out games, and a lot of 17,000ers. So 10,000 seats is a little bit dramatic for the Canadian press.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the real fans have been showing up. Yeah. They
act like it's 10,000 every game. It's like a lot of the times too, not that this really matters, but I'm like, hey, if it was 1-7-1-2-3 or 1-3-2, whatever the number used to be at Mellon, like if it would have been a sellout at Mellon, it still kind of counts as a sellout in my mind. But this team, and again, I've said this before, and you guys know, everybody knows that I get super excited about the teams when they're winning. So I'm not saying they're a Stanley Cup contender, but like you said, that pathway is so easy, and I'm not saying I'd bet on it, but I definitely would never bet against Sidney Crosby once he gets to the conference final. Like it's just, if you give this guy one more shot, I don't know. I mean, I know the Penguins might not be the greatest team, but like anybody else that would be coming out of the other division, do you think they want to see a hungry Sidney Crosby 2 steps away from a Stanley Cup again? Like it's you don't mess with guys like that, Mount Rushmore guys that are that if they get a whiff of a championship.
That's right. And like I said, we all know how bad the East is. It'd be different if they were in the Central Division having to go through Dallas and Colorado in the first 2 rounds. We'd be having a different conversation, but they're not. I don't think the Penguins are doing anything wrong here. Like, what are you going to do? Hey, Brazer, you're on pace for 25 goals. We're going to sit you for a couple of games so we can get Ville Koivunen back out there. Like, no, that makes no sense at all. You can't do that. You're still supposed to be trying to win. And let's be honest, they've got about 5 or 6 guys in this lineup who have vastly exceeded expectations. That's a good thing. And like Joe said, a lot of these guys, Brazo's in his mid-20s. You know, Chinnikov's 24. That you are getting younger organically while some of these other guys develop. That's a good thing.
Speaking of getting young,
go ahead. I didn't make this point, and I forgot about it, and I want to make it now. That I think that Muse has done a great job, but I think he's just not getting respect around the league when it comes to the referees. And when I was begging this summer to get Tocchet or somebody who can just stand there and the referees don't run over, I think the calls go against us. He can't win a challenge. But then I got this stat: Carberry, Coach of the Year, Carberry. He's 1 in 5 in goalie interference challenges. So maybe it's not Muse. Maybe they just hate everybody.
Well, there's probably something to that, but there are people in the organization who think that being a first-year coach, and he's got kind of an unassuming personality, whereas like Sully used to just give refs hell all game. Muse isn't like that at all, and there are people in the organization who think some calls are going against the Penguins on some nights because they don't have a lot of respect for him because he's the new guy, and that sounds so incredibly childish and stupid. But then again, so is the NHL in many ways, so it kind of makes sense.
definitely refereeing for sure.
Yeah. That's the NHL to a T. Do want to mention too, we had a trade, and this one I know nothing about it. Like I just looked up his stats. He's played Ilya Solovyov. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it.
Hold on.
We get him from Colorado in exchange for Valtteri Puustinen and a 2026 7th round pick. Look, he has 16 games experience in the NHL. I mean, what are we looking at here with this pickup, Josh?
He's a big guy. I think he pencils in, and I don't know much about him. This is speaking with people who are familiar with his game. He's kind of a number 7 defenseman type once again. They've got a lot of those guys right now, do they not, with St. Ivany and Clifton and Graves. But that's not a bad thing. Like you need depth on the blue line. I wonder if that trade wasn't expedited a little bit just because of the health situation with Letang and Carlson. He's actually on his way to Calgary as we speak, so he'll be available tomorrow if the Penguins need him. That might be part of it. I don't know. But it tells me 2 things in the big picture. Number 1, Puustinen's not that good, and he certainly needed a fresh start somewhere else. And number 2, when you see Kyle going out and getting depth defensemen, that tells me that he thinks his team's good. Because when you go to the playoffs, you want to have a lot of defensemen, right? And that tells me he's gearing up for that, and he might be gearing up for something else. Because normally you wouldn't just go out and get a depth defenseman if you were just going through the motions and you didn't think your team was capable of anything.
Well, Puustinen definitely had enough chances to shine, and I think Igor definitely put Puustinen way down the depth chart. Like, okay, we have a foreign winger that can actually shoot the puck and score, and it moves it well. As far as the defenseman we got, of course, I look up. First thing I see: height, weight, and penalty minutes. He's tall, skinny, and doesn't really play with much anger. So I don't know where he's going to fit in. It's 6'2", 187 is not exactly bruiser material,
True.
and he has never made it over 20 PIMs in a season. So I don't know. Okay.
Listen, and it could be that the primary object here, aside from having some depth, was just to help Wilkes-Barre a little bit. And maybe they're bringing him up now because of the health on the blue line. That might be all it is, and that's okay. They want to have success in Wilkes-Barre as well, and they don't have a ton of talent on the blue line down there. So they have so much depth organizationally at forward right now. If nothing less, you ship out a forward and bring in a defenseman who are maybe comparable. It makes sense because they need some depth on the blue line.
He's filling the hole left by that communist Zamula, the guy who went to Columbus.
I see a Penguin trade alert and I just immediately think about how much work Josh has to do, because it's either somebody that you don't know nothing about, so you have to do a ton of research, or
My
it's
boss
a big one.
Care about this one. It's just an AHL trade. It's fine.
Did you see we hired an assistant skating coach?
Smart move for a hockey team, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess they need to skate. Yeah.
I don't know. Could you just maybe lower the price of beer?
It's getting a little expensive these days.
Yeah. What's Mr. Dewis's budget? How about we just trim the fat a little bit, all right?
We could tell. I know Dan Muse likes to go to Firebirds, but maybe on the company credit card he could go down the street to McDonald's. There's one like right there. Get Go. I mean, Get Go sponsors the team.
Yeah,
Get Go Market and Cafe.
Firebirds is killer though. The McDonald's. I went using top shape. I'm using top shape.
The Firebirds is legit. Let's keep them healthy and filled with energy. It's good.
Yeah.
Love Firebirds.
So we want to talk about the road. We'll get into the road ahead. We got a couple of games this week as Josh is out west. But before we do that, Mr. Bill Neofis, one of our two sponsors, and look, we got a logo. I think I gotta get a better one from Bill, but
well, I like it. It's nice.
no. I mean, I don't think it's the highest quality of image. The logo is good. I just tried to pull it from the web, is what I meant to say.
I understand. Well, yeah, let's get on that for God's sake. Bill's our first ever sponsor forever. We need to take care of Bill. But yes, Bill was in good form this weekend. We were I'm like out west watching football and talking with Bill during such, and we were talking hockey a lot, of course, because even though he's the best insurance man in all of Pennsylvania, I still think he would rather talk about hockey most of the time. But nonetheless, his day job is insurance, and as we tell everyone every week, he's the best in the business. And our favorite thing is when Bill calls and says, "Hey, we got another listener signed up today," which has happened quite a bit. So we are always excited to hear that. Whatever your insurance needs are, it could be homeowner insurance, car insurance, you name it. There's like insurances for things I didn't even know about, pet insurance, you name it. Bill and his people, they will take care of you. They are absolutely the best in the business, located in the North Hills. And honestly, they will make you feel so comfortable. I'm an idiot with insurance. I never know what to do or how to go about it. And so when I talk with them, they make me feel less stupid, honestly, and they make me feel very comfortable talking with them about it. That's just how they are. They're great people. So give our man Bill and his staff a call, 412-364-3388. They will take care of you, guaranteed.
Thank you, Bill.
Yay, Bill. How about both of our sponsors were founded the same year?
Oh, yeah. I just noticed that with the logo. No way. So everything that happened in 1960 has to sponsor this team.
Yeah,
we're going to find another one. Yeah.
Bill Mazeroski's foundational sponsor, isn't it?
Yeah, what was the old place in Oakland that I used to go to? God, when I was in college, I can't remember the name of the place, but Mickey Mantle had a nice signed image in there and said thanks for the sandwich. So maybe they were around in 1960. Maybe they could sponsor us. So something that's been around since feels like 1960 is the Calgary Flames Arena, and we'll get into the matchup. We got Calgary tomorrow night, or Calgary as it is properly said in Canada. But before we get into just what we should do with these games, Josh, peel back the curtain a little bit. You always take a nice video of the Saddle Dome and what that place is like, and this is the second to last time the Penguins will play there, so I have a feeling you're gonna have a hard time saying goodbye to this place.
Love the Saddle Dome. I was there for practice today. It's the second oldest building in the league. Only the Garden in New York is older, and the Garden doesn't feel old anymore because they've renovated it so much. The Saddle Dome feels old. I walked into practice today, and the seats are kind of falling apart, and it actually romantically made me think of Civic Arena. It has that kind of feel. The Saddle Dome was, I think, built in 1983, but it feels older, to be honest. It's one of the coolest buildings in the league, though. I absolutely love it. In fact, Calgary is one of my favorite cities in the league. Just a great place to catch a hockey game. One more season they will play in the Saddle Dome, and then their new building opens in the summer of 2027. So, and I don't know about you guys, but even when I was a kid, I would always stay up late and watch the Western Canada games. There was just something so cool about them. I don't know what it was, but I'd always get excited for that road trip. And even as an old hockey reporter, I still love coming out here. People are just so into the sport, such great cities out here. It's one of my favorite road trips of the year.
Love Calgary is an absolutely great city. I love that city.
So do I. No, it's just, I would say it's if Denver and Pittsburgh had a love child, it would be Calgary. Because I feel it reminds me of Pittsburgh, and something about the downtown and how it's walkable, and it really does remind me of it. But then you look and you see the beautiful Rocky Mountains everywhere, and you feel like you're in Denver. So, now Calgary is probably one of my 5 favorite cities in the league.
And Calgary absolutely got robbed of a Stanley Cup champion. I will die on this hill. I think that puck went into across the goal line in Game 6 overtime in the 2004 Stanley Cup. I will die on that hill.
Yeah, no, you might well be right. They're not a very good team right now, but it's a great hockey town. It's been nice being out here for a couple of days.
And what's the rink? To get to the press box, you have to scale the building, right?
Well, yeah. Now, if you're afraid of heights, it's best to avoid it. I'm trying to think. Just people I've covered the Penguins with over the years. I think Shelley Anderson and Dave Molinari weren't particularly big on the catwalk, as I recall. But me, I'm not afraid of heights. So I actually take my phone. You have to walk over the ice during like warm-ups to get to the press box. So I always take my phone and I'm like, taking video of it. One of these days, I'm going to drop the damn phone and it's going to like create a hole in the ice. Or I have to be very, very careful. But it's just one
You'll
of the
make
coolest
headlines.
things. It certainly would. I'd write about my own arrest, perhaps. But when the Flames score, like they shoot out these flames, you can actually feel the heat from them. It's just great. I absolutely adore it.
Hopefully they won't use up any energy on Wednesday night.
Right.
I think they're going to win that game. I think they're going to come out. I think they're still pissed about the last time that they just gave away that game. They didn't give it away. They just didn't take it, I should say. I think Edmonton's going to be tough.
Yeah.
And then Vancouver, we'll see. Hopefully She Loves will be up to the task. But Vancouver, they've just traded their two best players. So
Yeah, I mean, Vancouver's the worst team in the league right now, and Calgary's not good. Winning on the second night of a back-to-back at Edmonton's a lot to ask. Let's be honest, the way that team is humming right now. I don't know if Leon's going to be back or not. I know he had to leave a couple of days for a family reason. If he's back, that makes it even tougher. But, very simple black and white thing. You should win 2 of those 3 games, right? And if you do that, you got a 3-1 road trip, and you are feeling awfully good coming home for games against the Blackhawks and the Rangers. That's what we call a soft stretch of schedule. They absolutely need to take advantage right now.
speaking of the Rangers, I'm going to jump the segment because you have to give credit where credit's due. Salute Mike Sullivan and his blue shirts as they get the Lord's Work Award of the Week. They did the Lord's work. They beat the Creamsicles in Philly by, I think it was 7-3, 6-3. I should have done my better research. But basically, it's not all the Rangers. The real trophy, the man who gets to hold the trophy, is Mika Zibanejad from the training block to heaven. He did the Lord's work, the hat trick in Philly. So salute Mika Zibanejad.
There's when bad things happen to the Flyers, I can just see the smile on Joe's face. And I can only imagine, I didn't know you back then, but whenever Sid scored his first hat trick and it was in Philly of all places, like you didn't want that one to be at home. You wanted that to be in Philly.
Well, honestly, if the Flyers are losing, I'll turn on the game. If they're winning, I don't turn it on. On NHL on the fly, if the Flyers won, I skip the highlights.
This occurs to me, there's only like 5 bad teams in the NHL right now, and like 4 of them are in the Metro. I mean, it's really like between Columbus and Philly and the Rangers. Jesus.
Yeah. I did DVE Friday morning, and I was all giddy, and we were talking about it all morning. And of course, we plugged this show, but Pursuit was like, "How old are you?" And I told him my age. She goes, "It's great. You still have that much passion and that much hatred for the Flyers."
It hasn't withered at all.
And for all of the people watching and listening right now, just so you know, that's not like some show that Joe puts on when we're on the air. It's actually completely sincere. I will be having a random conversation in August with Joe, and he will say something about those son of a bitch and Flyers. Just random. So it's a very real thing.
It truly is. In sports, is the 3 things I root for: the Penguins, the Steelers, and someone to beat the Flyers. I really, truly, of course, I like Michigan. I like the LA Kings. There's other teams I really want to win, but nothing. It really goes Penguins, Steelers, the Flyers lose. But my only gripe in that Flyer game, Josh, was the deck of cards they gave us. Is the giveaway?
Not pleased.
Well, Sid was the king. Gino was the queen.
Oh.
Letang has to be the queen. What are we talking about?
He is the prettiest guy on the team, right? I knew that was coming.
Or they could have made Giroux the queen.
I don't know what happened that night, if the cards had anything to do with it or not. But the line to get into the arena that night was like nothing I've ever seen. And it was a very late arriving crowd, and it was really cold outside. Like there's these kids look like they were freezing to death. So I don't know if it takes that long to hand out a deck of cards to people or what, but I was quite troubled by that walking into the building.
Josh, I know you're up with all the big shots in the press box, but usually when you go in the game, you're already way inside. It's when you go up the elevator that they hand you whatever they're going to hand you. So it's not like right when you walk in. So I don't know why the lines were that long. I thought, I must have been really late this time. It really took forever to get into the arena. Well, it was almost sold out. I don't know if that made a difference. A great listener just said Mario should have been the ace. Yeah, but you know what? They only had 3 guys. Did they think Rusty was going to get traded before they made how is it Rusty on a number, or Raquel or Carlson?
Rusty's a jack. Rusty's a jack all day. Everybody loves jacks,
Oh, we should mention we didn't have this on our little our little outline for the evening that we do, but the Penguins did announce today. Speaking of giveaways and what?
Oh yes.
Saturdays at the 31st, whatever 2 Saturdays from now is. The Penguins have a home game against the Rangers. It's a 3:30 Saturday game, and they are honoring the 2016 Stanley Cup champions. I think Mike Sullivan's going to take part in some kind of pregame ceremony, and also Jim Rutherford.
Beg to come back.
Probably. Our buddy Jim Rutherford is making his return to Pittsburgh. He's going to be there for that game. He has never come back with the Canucks. I don't know why he never has. I've always sensed something uncomfortable about it for him. I know he was very well aware of the backlash that some fans gave him for leaving in the middle of a season the way he did. I'm actually having lunch with Jim in Vancouver in a couple of days, so I'm going to ask him about that before he comes out to Pittsburgh the following week. But that'll be really – I'm glad he's going to be there. He obviously was the guy who constructed a big chunk of that team. And so with him and Sullivan there and Patrick Hornquist and Chris Kunitz are coming, a lot of the big names. I didn't see Phil Kessel's name on the list. I don't know if Phil's got some kind of poker conflict that day or something. I don't know why he wouldn't be there. Hopefully that was like a typo and he decides to come at the last second.
Phil strikes me as a guy who doesn't reply to text messages very well.
Well, Phil was $1 hot dog night.
Wouldn't that be perfect? Yes. I mean, they actually should do that for Phil.
I thought it was great that I was at Italian American night, didn't get a jersey, but on Grateful Dead night, Sid with the miracle goal. I thought that was great. I do have one other news note I want to get to before we get to more things. Is did they have to give Chinikov number 59? Because I think it's Jake every time.
I've had that problem as well. Like Chinikov's a little bigger, but he's left-handed. Yeah, I know. And it's such of a random number.
Yeah, it's Jake.
I don't love it either. I know. He's actually faster than Jake.
Or something. There's something you could have done there. It didn't have to be Jake's number. I mean, did they change equipment managers since then? I don't think so, right? No, it's the same group.
I mean, Tags has been there forever, yeah.
You would think somebody would have said something, but hey, maybe Chinikov wanted it. You know what I mean? Maybe he asked for it. I don't know what his number was before here. So I want to get into a little bit, speaking of Mike Sullivan, what's going on with the New York Rangers. But before we do that, we've got our other sponsor, and I'm going to throw this. Everybody, you are going to see something. This is the world premiere of Danny's Pizza and Hoagies pizza box that will be coming out this spring. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. It is none other than Joe Bartnick a cartoon Joe Bartnick holding a slice of pizza on a pizza box.
Joe, sex sells. I mean, listen, you're oozing sex appeal with the shirt unbuttoned, the mustache looking extra good there. I know I'm hungry for Danny's right now. I'm always hungry for Danny's, so it's fine.
Yeah, I really hope Alex. I don't expect sales to go up. I just hope they don't lose any sales with my picture on the box. It's such an honor and a privilege to be associated with Danny's Pizza in any form, and especially to have them be our newest sponsor and a great sponsor along with Bill. And Danny's Pizza and Hoagies is at 5159 Library Road. That's Route 88. If you're going to South Park, it's a couple lights right before it on the left, and I guarantee you are gonna love it. The absolute best Italian hoagie in the world. And I've eaten a lot of them. People from around the world go, Danny's is the absolute best. It's the absolute best. The steak sandwich is amazing. The pizza is great. What I'm telling you to do, the pro move, you go in, you get an Italian special hoagie, a large. Don't get the half. Get the whole, because the half is not enough. Because you're gonna snort the half again. I want more, and get a pepperoni cut, a square, to wait while your hoagie's being made. I'm telling you, the proper move. And they are at Danny's Pizza and Hoagie.com is the website. You can peruse the menu, and the number is 412-833-7788. That's Danny's Pizza and Hoagies. Tell them Joe, Josh, and Corey sent you. And if the owner Alex is there, he won't be there if the Penguin night. he'll be in his great seats. But if Alex is there, he will come out and talk Penguins hockey with you. He loves talking hockey, and he has some very astute, brilliant opinions because he's watched them not as long as me. He's a young, good-looking guy, but he knows his hockey. So tell Alex we sent you, and like I said, get a hoagie, get a pizza. It's just delicious. It really is, right, Josh? You're a big fan.
Listen, I'm a South Hills man, so I've been indulging in Danny's for all of my adult life. So I am very much a fan.
Yeah. And Joe, speaking of good-looking people, they said that one of our listeners said it looks like Freddie Mercury on the box.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's good or bad.
I know. I mean, could go one way or the other. Although, like, it was somebody wanted to know if their chest hair would be included. Or the fact that the chest hair is included in the pizza box. I mean, think about the women that are going to be swooning over this. You know, you're going to have a lot of women ordering some extra pizzas.
I got to say, you know, when they say, when people in real life, you should be happy that like Meg Ryan played you in the movie or something. I think the artist who designed this pizza box was pretty flattering to my stomach because my stomach looks like I've eaten a lot of Danny's. And that picture makes it look like I do aerobics too. So, but thank you, Alex, and your family. It really is a privilege
they're great.
And an honor. But I'm not messing around. I guarantee I've eaten a lot of sandwiches around the world, and it is the best. Friends of mine come in from out of town, from all over the world. Come in. I take in the Danny's, and they're just like, "Oh my god, what is in this thing?" And I did the thing for Eats and that, and we filmed it. He showed me how he makes it. Doesn't tell me the special sauce, and I still don't understand how it tastes that good. It's like a magic trick. It tastes so good. Before we talk Steelers, I want to get you guys' thoughts on the shootout because I actually did some homework. Not actually, I do a lot of homework for my hockey event. But here's the updated shootout stats. Igor, 2 for 2. Kevin Hayes, 1 for 1. I hope he can make that work in Wilkes-Barre. Gino, 1 for 2. Ricard Raquel, 1 for 3. Rusty, 1 for 5. The captain, 1 for 7. Letang and Tommy Novak, 0 for 1. And Vili Koivunen, 0 for 1. And Vili Koivunen, 0 for 2. So those are the offers. But what? I mean, do you not put Sid out there? I mean, I would not do it. So, but I mean, what do you do, Josh?
I mean, we're getting to that point. I mean, not only is he not scoring, but the last 3 or 4 times, you can see the lack of confidence just in his body language when he's skating down the ice with the puck. Like you know he's not going to score. And I don't think we've ever felt that way with Sidney Crosby at any time in 21 years. I think it's something they need to consider. They don't have that many great options, but you just mentioned the stats. They've got some guys, and one guy, I watch, in practice when they practice shootouts, like Ben Kindle knows what he's doing in the shootout. That's certainly an option they have as well.
Chinnikov looked like he knew what he was doing.
Yeah, Chinnikov's a no-brainer now. I mean, not only has he scored twice, but he's done so pretty impressively.
He also runs the goalie afterwards.
He does. So, yeah, you've got some options. I'm not saying to abolish Crosby from the rotation, but I think part of it is either it's his superstitions or it's Dan Muse deferring to his superstitions. He likes going second in the shootout, so he always goes second in the shootout. You're going to have to change it up at some point because they're costing themselves so many points. And listen, Shelovs is a massive problem in the shootout as well. He's given up goals on 13 out of 20 attempts. That's 65%. That's ridiculous. And again, he most of them are like the target's that big that a guy can shoot at. Like he's not even coming close to stopping these shots.
It seems like we'd better off putting Carlson out there to see if he can pick his pocket when he's skating in there. Like, do you have to have a goalie? Can we just put like Kulak out there? Maybe a poke check? I mean, anything's got to be better than Shilov's. But we also, before we get to any Steeler news, are you going to break any news, Josh?
Yeah. Sorry, wait for us to bury the lead. I titled this thing Jason Robertson trade rumors, and just so you guys know, for the listeners that watch, we put together a outline, but like
we never
it's just
follow
the most easy conversation. I mean, here we are, we're 50 minutes in, and one of the first things we were going to talk about is finally coming up, because there's always so much to talk about with the Penguins, and it's just great. But anyway, so yeah, Jason Robertson, is there anything going on there?
Like people watching, if you see me like looking like this over at my phone, that was me texting Corey and Joe like, hey, let's not forget what the headline is. No, there's not breaking news, but I can tell you this. Jason Robertson is in a really interesting situation because I don't think Dallas is going to be able to lock him up long term. They've already locked up everyone else long term. They have 6 players on their team locked up at almost $60 million for the next 5 years. That's $60 million per year in salary cap hits. So a lot of people around the league think that he will be traded at some point in either this season or next, or in the summer. He's an RFA this year, then he's a UFA the year after. So there's a lot of things going on here. And I know for a fact that this is a player that Kyle Dubas really, really likes. Who the hell wouldn't like Jason Robertson other than Billy Guerin, maybe? But I mean, he's one of the best players in the league. He's a great player. He's a 90, 100-point guy. We all know this. He's 26 years old. When you look at the Penguins situation, we've talked a lot about how Dubas has done a really good job of building the system the last couple of years, and he has. And they're in a pretty good situation now. But the one thing they don't have moving forward is any young stars, especially at forward. And as long as Sid's on this team, I don't think they're getting a top 5 pick, Joe. I really don't. I listen, if he stays healthy, I think he's just too good still. And whether they make the playoffs or not, I don't know that they're going to get that impactful superstar player in the draft. I just don't know that they are. So, okay, how else do you go about it? Well, July 1st, that's not going to work either. Even though the Penguins have an outrageous amount of cap space now, teams don't really let superstars get to July 1st anymore. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, the ones that do, you don't want. I don't want Panarin.
Right. Like John Tavares is a great player, but has he really helped Toronto that much in the last 7 years or whatever?
No, but that's a different argument, Josh, because basically they paid a number 1 center money for a number 2 center in that system.
That's true, but the point is,
no, I know. I'm not trying to argue, but no, because that's their original sin,
right?
Is having 4 forwards and no defensemen.
So, July 1st, the Penguins are going to be active in free agency this summer with all the money they have to spend. Of course they are. But you don't win championships spending too much money on July 1st. We know that. You can fill out your lineup, sure. So my point is, if the Penguins are going to get a young, impactful player, it's going to be a scenario like what we see with Robertson, where they have all the cap space in the world. They can pay him whatever he wants for the next 7 or 8 years, whatever it would be. They could handle that easily. They've got draft picks to give Dallas. They've also got, since Dallas is a Stanley Cup contender, hey, we'll take Robertson off your hands. And nobody told me this. I'm just putting 2 and 2 together. But you want Rickard Rakell as part of this trade? Fine. That's a guy who can still help you win a Stanley Cup in the next couple of years. You don't have to worry about paying Robertson anymore, but we'll take care of that. Rax or Rusty, whoever, those guys work cheap. You can have one of those guys maybe. So I think they have all the pieces in place that would be required to make such of a deal. And I emphasize, again, Robertson's 26 years old. He's a great player. I don't think Dallas can keep him. So there will be a line of teams wanting to get him. But I know Dubas really likes him. And the Penguins have the goods to offer to make such of a trade. And it would make sense for both sides. So it's just something to keep in mind here.
That's the name that makes the most sense for Dallas, is you get rid of Robertson now, so you don't have to worry about him in the summer, but you're actually getting someone that can help you win almost, if not more than Robertson right now.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about Rusty, I assume?
Well, I was talking about Rakell.
Oh, Rakell? Okay. Well, I mean, Rakell's not as good as Jason Robertson, but he's a legitimate top 6 forward.
Right, but he is a little bit more of an edge. and also maybe a little hungrier because he knows might be his last kick at the can.
Could be. So yeah, I mean, nobody has told me anything about Raquel or Rust or anything. I'm just kind of spitballing because, if you're Dallas, you have to put yourself in Dallas's shoes. You're not just going to give away Robertson for draft picks and prospects. That's not where Dallas is. Dallas is trying to win a championship. So if I'm Dallas, I go right to Brian Rust. I say, you want Jason Robertson? We're taking him. That's who we want in a playoff run, and it would make sense, and you would understand it. But Robertson's one of the great young players in the game, and the Penguins need a great young player up front, other than Ben Kindle, who's, I think, going to be really good. He's 18. It's hard to say. They don't have that much in the next couple of years anyway, in terms of young, talented forwards. And Sid and Gino aren't going to do this forever. We know this. So they need to get some kind of star power somewhere. It would be an avenue to get it. And like I said, Dubas and other people in the organization, I know they think really, really highly of Jason Robertson, as does everybody. I mean, listen, he's one of the best in the business.
Everybody except Team USA.
Yeah, I call him the Pasadena kid, even though he's actually from Arcadia. But Robertson is not the all-around hockey player that Rusty is. He's not a Hall of Famer like Gino, but if he walked into the Penguins locker room right now, he'd be the second best offensive player.
Yeah, he would. At worst, he would put up Jake Gensel numbers playing with Crosby, I think. He's probably more gifted than Jake. I
don't think he's as crafty as Jake in this, not silly, but the slick little trick kind of moves that Sid does, and that whole kind of like, Jake just scores some goals like, oh, he's a coach's son, he knows where to be, and
that's true.
But size, speed, talent,
and
knows for the puck. Jason Robertson is a great hockey player.
He is, and
I watch him a lot. He's a great hockey player.
And I brought up the Jake thing. He's 5 years younger than Jake. So again, if Jason Robertson were 29 or 30 or 31, I don't know that the Penguins would, like him as much as they do. He's 26. He's just right in the heart of his prime. So I think it's an interesting name to consider. And just looking at Dallas' salary structure, they've locked up everyone else, Miro and Harley and Hintz and Ottinger. They've locked up all of these guys, Wyatt Johnston, great players. I get it. You lock up as many as you can, but I just don't think financially they're going to be able to pay him.
It's funny. That really would be the hardest decision in my life. Do I trade Rusty for Jason Robertson? I don't know.
Tough one. That's a tough one.
I trade Raquel. You can't have Rusty. I went ranting for Rusty.
There it is.
Yeah, there we go. Here's what I was thinking about. It's a weird thing, Josh, when I was reading your article about it, saying that the Penguins don't have any star power. Like, they have a lot of different people, nice pieces in place.
Mm-hmm.
The Penguins have not they haven't been without star power since 1983. It was Mario, and then Mario retired, and you had Yager, and Yager, right before he left, Mario came back, and then it went right to Sid. Like we haven't, I remember having this conversation in the arena in 2011 when Gino was hurt and Sid was hurt. Sid was out with the concussion. It was during the Tampa Bay series that we lost in 7. Talking with people in the arena, I was like, we're just not used to this. Like, the Penguins are in the playoffs and they've got like a superstar, like an aging Kovalev was the best player we had. It felt like, anyways. But I don't know. It's just a weird thing. It's a weird thing to confront. Who's going to be the star?
And the good thing is Sid might still be great for a few more years. I mean, the way he's going, he's on pace for 94 points, which is almost exactly what he's done the last 3 years. He is not slowing down at all, so that's good. But listen, you're right. I think just in terms of ticket sales, and Pittsburgh's a great hockey town, yes, but it's also a spoiled hockey town. We're used to having Crosby or Malkin or Yager or Mario, so you need to have a big name. Not that Robertson's in their league, but and just from a team building standpoint, look at the teams that win the cups every year. You got superstars whether it's, Kachuk and Barkov, or you can go down the list, or even though Edmonton hasn't won the cup, we know who they have that's gotten to the finals the last couple of years, or McKinnon and Makar. Like, you need to have the goaltender and a good deep team. Those are all important things, but you also have to have the big names up top. And especially a couple of years from now, Penguins are going to have a problem there, because those guys just aren't easy to find anymore. And if you can get a guy like Robertson, even if it costs you a Rust or a McGroarty or a first round, but whatever it may be, something you have to consider for both now and into the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get the Steelers too, I want to mention the Mike Sullivan and the Rangers. I mean, the Rangers had to put out a statement, a letter to their fans saying like, hey, look, this didn't go the way we thought it would. Like almost like at the end of an embarrassingly bad date, where you're like, well, hey, that didn't work out.
Corey, I wondered if they just renamed it in the Word document, like letter.
They just did it a couple years ago.
Instead of having letter 2017, they just changed it to letter 2025 and resend. I mean, it's the same thing they sent out 7 years ago.
Yeah. It's just I did not see this coming from the Mike Sullivan era. And maybe we should have, looking at that roster. I don't know. But I mean, are they in selling? I've seen two comments mention the Penguins should go for Lafreniere. Are they in pure sell mode, or are they just saying hey, we're gonna reassess things? They didn't come out and say what they're selling, have they?
I mean, no, I do think they're in sell mode. That's certainly how I took that email. But they
didn't come out and say everybody's on the trading block.
I mean, Panarin, I think for sure. That sounds like the one that absolutely will be moved. Lafreniere, I mean, he's had a bad year. I've always liked him a lot. I think being the first overall pick in the draft comes with certain expectations. He's not Connor McDavid. Sorry, he's not. But man, he always plays well against the Penguins. You always notice, and I like his game. He plays with an edge, at least when he's at his best, he does. So I don't know what's happened to him. I haven't heard that his name's out there per se. I'm sure it could be, though. I think the Rangers, they're in a tough spot. And one thing I've always said about the Rangers, the last couple of years anyway, they're older than you think. That roster, there's a lot of guys on the wrong side of 30 on that roster, and I think that's one of their problems.
They have a lot of problems, and they are great. I was absolutely wrong. I thought Sullivan was going to go in there and get the best of them. I picked them first in the Metro. I don't know what happened, and they actually got a good 30 games out of Adam Fox, who I think is the most overrated defenseman in the history of the league. I think his Norris should have an asterisk next to it. But Shesterkin got injured a little bit. Quickie played good for a while. If it just fell apart on them, and I'm not going to knock the Pittsburgh kids, but Miller and Trocheck didn't get it done.
No.
Because Panarin's had a good year. You can't knock Panarin. Lafreniere didn't get it done. Lafreniere, who would want him now? I have no idea. I mean, Gouldy's about the only guy played up his potential up front. Him and Breadman. And Mika's played okay. Mika's actually played okay.
He has. I don't think Mika and Sully are the best of pals. They
don't strike me as being on the same wavelength.
No, they don't. And Panarin, listen, the guy always produces. Wherever you trade him to, assuming they trade him, he'll put up his numbers. He's a great player. He's aging a little bit, but he's still a really, really great player. He will help a contender for sure. Who knows where he will end up. But, yeah, I thought they'd be better than they are. I thought they were a fringe playoff team. And obviously they're not. When Shesterkin got hurt, he's their guy. And even though he's not had a great year, he gives them a chance every game when he's healthy, and he's not. So you add it all up, and it has been an absolute disaster on Broadway. And I don't think their system's all that great right now either. So I don't think there's a ton of help on the way. I'm glad Sully got paid, because I don't know how much winning he's going to be doing there in the next couple of years.
Well, I just don't understand why they traded Chris Kreider. He was their heart and soul.
Sometimes you don't. There's a player. I mean, we talk about this with Rusty. It's sometimes you don't move a player for a reason like that. Not a hockey reason, a locker room reason.
Well, there were certainly. Let's be honest. The Rangers locker room, by many accounts, was a mess last season. I don't know how bringing JT Miller in was going to help that locker room necessarily. I don't mind JT, but there's a lot of people that don't like JT in the league. He kind of says it like it is. If you have a thin skin, he's not your guy. So boy, things are really disastrous there. And Chris Drury has not done a good job. He is not well liked among the fan base, that's for sure. Sounds like he's going to keep his job for now, which surprised me a little bit because I really thought he was going to be in trouble. But keep in mind, like as bad as the Rangers are, they get to play a big chunk of their games against the worst division in the sport. Like that tells you how bad they really are. If they were in a good division, man, what kind of trouble they would be in. So they're in a bad spot.
Well, what's crazy is how good they are on the road. They're not a bad team on the road. They're just
home,
like they're like 4-30 at home.
They can't score a goal at the Garden. I'm sure that's going over really well with the faithful in New York. Who, like, if you're losing 1-0 at the end of the first period, you get booed there. That's just the way it is.
But it was just like Kreider's like way up. I mean, this is the Rangers. This isn't the Nashville Predators. This isn't the the Coyotes. Kreider's like so high up on the all-time list for goals and power play goals, and they just like threw him to the Ducks for no reason. I mean, like you don't get rid of a guy like that.
And we always notice him because he's a Penguin killer of all time for sure. Drury's made some really curious decisions. That suddenly is an organization with no direction.
They made the mistake of not giving Kreider the C when they gave it to Trouba. Kreider should have worn the C. And then what's really funny is how many coaches have they been through since they fired Gallant? Gallant was like 25 games over 500.
No, it's true.
And they threw him out. And I was a big Laviolette guy. Laviolette stunk there. They ran him out of town.
He did. And this is probably a topic that's better for February when I'm sure we'll be talking about the Olympics a lot. But Mike Sullivan's reputation as a coach, his legacy as a coach, probably going to be on the line in February. Because if the American Olympic team flames out in Italy at the same time when the Rangers are falling apart, at the same time when the Penguins are noticeably better after he's left, you add those things up, that doesn't look good for Mike Sullivan's legacy. I think he's a great coach. I have a lot of respect for him as a coach and as a person, but you could not deny that the last 6 months have been horrible for his legacy.
And I mean, he's a little bit of a victim of circumstance, where like it just the time had run its course in Pittsburgh. And then in the Rangers, I don't know if that was maybe in retrospect really the best place to go for him. I mean, I'm sure it was the highest paying, but I don't know. And then the USA thing is going to be interesting. I had high hopes for him with Team USA. I know he's not the GM, but some of those decisions on the roster, like the Jason Robertson not being on the roster is so absurd. I thought that I was going to be mad because Brian Rust wasn't on the team. And then I saw that news. I was like, I mean, I'm not saying give the gold medal to Canada, but like that pack it in, like I don't have high hopes. Like doesn't look like a roster that I'm like, oh yeah, we might do it this time.
Well, for a team that was one clutch goal away from winning the Four Nations, you'd think they would have looked at Brian Rust as maybe an answer. I mean, who has scored more clutch goals and who was the front row seat to see them do it is Sullivan and Billy G.
And who knows how to play with great players? Who knows how to penalties? Yeah, I mean,
I think the damning fact is we did this on Puck Off was just go through the Canadian roster and go through the American roster. I think the only American with a Stanley Cup ring is Kachuk. And the only Canadian without a Stanley Cup ring is Jesus. Like everybody else. There might be one or two scattered, but of the top 10 on each team.
No,
when you put it that way, now I understand why they don't want Russia in it, because it's just basically.
Oh, Russia would have more Stanley Cup rings too.
I know it makes sense why Canada doesn't want them, because Canada's like, we can get this easy. We can pick up an easy gold medal. We call in travel sports, we call those when they have the different tiers, and sometimes a team comes down to a lower tier, and those are trophy hunters. So that's what Canada's doing. They're trophy hunting for a gold medal. So we got plenty of Olympics to talk about in the next couple of weeks. But before we wrap up, the Steelers coaching search. Here's a couple of the names that really stick out to me. Chris Shula is the defensive coordinator for the Rams, grandson of Don Shula. Don Shula, who hired the Chuck Noll as before he was with the Steelers at the Colts. And And then Nate Shiel-Haas, the best Yinzer name that could possibly come into the scenario. Shiel-Haas. I mean, it's the way every Yinzer says the word house is how his name is spelled. Haase. And then the one that's most curious to me is Mike McCarthy, the former Green Bay Packers coach, and he was in Dallas there for a handful of years. Do you think they're just doing him a solid and like getting his name in the coaching carousel cycle, or do you think there's some serious consideration with Mike McCarthy?
I don't know, Joe. I think like Art Rooney's running this whole thing, and that doesn't make me feel overly comfortable.
Yep.
Maybe he likes the Mike McCarthy's from Pittsburgh. I don't think McCarthy's like a terrible coach.
No.
But he's a little too similar to Tomlin in a lot of ways. A guy who's been really good but not great for really a decade. I just, when I think of the Steelers and you kind of want them to have an organizational reset, like I don't think of the 62-year-old guy that hasn't won anything in a long time.
Yeah, I'm not down for Shula at all, unless talent skips a generation. Because his dad couldn't win at Alabama.
That's a good point.
That's hard to do.
It's true. In a lot of ways, I do like him. I like the fact that he's worked under McVay for a long time. I think that guy's a great coach.
But now Shula's the defensive guy, right? And Haas is the passing guru. Right. I went offense because I know Mike on DVE kind of that fought back against me. But to me, it's easier to find a defensive guru than an offensive guru. We hire an offensive guru guy that has an offense no one's seen or is dynamic. Then we can find the guy that, can get in someone's face and get a defense fired up. I'd hire the defensive guy that the Bears defensive guy looked like a genius,
Yeah.
I don't know. I seem that you can always find a defensive coordinator that fires up his linebackers and has some blitz scheme nobody's seen. It seems like it's much harder to find an offensive guru.
Well, the offensive scheming is so complex now, and the Steelers are
not in Pittsburgh it isn't, but yeah.
No, the Steelers have been the opposite of complex, so I think that's what they need to do.
This might be a Yinzer pipe dream, but could you get both of them from the Rams? Maybe Shula's the head coach and bring him. It would be a promotion to be the offensive coordinator. Just a thought. I mean, I think Shula's the safest pick, maybe. And I know his dad wasn't a very good coach. I do like the bloodlines, though. I would think he'd probably be prepared in some ways for it. I like any assistant who's worked under a great coach, and I think the guy in LA, Sean McVay, is a great coach. I really do. So there is that. I don't understand the Brian Flores talk. He was a failed head coach in Miami. He's a good defensive coordinator, I guess. He did well in Minnesota. Was the Steelers' defense really any better the year he was here?
No.
I don't know. I'm sure there are worse candidates, but I don't know. I think if it's between him and Shula, I'd rather have the younger guy who hasn't been a failed head coach.
No, I agree. I don't think Flores is the answer. I guess I'll take Shula over that. I do like the house guy. I'll tell you one thing that I'm glad, Corey, you were smart enough not to pick up or throw around is everybody, Pittsburgh. We're not getting Signetti. He's not coming.
God, no. Yeah.
Okay. If the people,
how many people
who was going to try to sit up? I don't know. The guy that just won the national championship from dust.
It took Indiana.
The worst school in the history of the college football. He took them to a national championship in 2 years. He's going to dump all that to go to an organization that doesn't have a quarterback.
That was a great game, by the way.
An incredible game.
Really, I thought Miami was going to pull it off at the end. That was great. Michael spoke out of his mind on the sidelines. There was a lot of stuff going on. But
actually, though, Josh, it was the second best game of the weekend. I thought that Chicago Bear game was one of the greatest football games I've ever seen. And that was their immaculate reception. Fourth down, he's running backwards. He throws a Hail Mary. But then the guy pushed out. How do you not go for two?
That's all they do is go for it on everything.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. How do you not go for it? I mean, those guys are so dumb. The quarterback could have walked in.
That was their moment. That was the moment.
Oh, I couldn't believe it. That's one of the greatest throws I've ever seen. One of the greatest plays I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And the Broncos-Bills game was great too. Like there were three unbelievable games 3 days in a row. for football fans. But no, what Caleb Williams did, that was incredible. And I like that he went to the Blackhawks game the next night. Did you see that? He was in the front row at the Blackhawks game.
Yeah.
Got a standing ovation. He's the king of Chicago now. Man, is he special. No, that
He
was
certainly won me over. I didn't like him whenever he was crying in his mom's arms at USC after losing to like some,
right.
Nobody.
He's tougher than I realized. I give him credit.
Oh, that one hit he took on third down, and he played an incredible. The stands. I love Chicago. What? Yeah. I wish they would have won. I can't believe he didn't go for two. That was
the Bears are fun. It's like the first time in my life the Bears have been fun. Like they're going to be on national TV a bunch next year. Great, they're fun to watch.
They've always been so boring. Like,
yes.
Well, I'm old enough to remember Ditka in the fridge. You guys are young. But I remember Sweetness. But I still can't believe they didn't go for two. I'm shocked.
No.
The other thing,
go for it. It's 4th and 7 at the 50-yard line. You're going for it all the time. Why wouldn't you 2 yards put you in the NFC Championship game? Come on.
I mean, my godson goes to Indiana. Jake, our producer on DVE, we went to Indiana.
Did he go to the game?
He went to New York to party. But I have a lot of ties to Indiana right now, but three of my very, very good friends of mine are the U alumni, and so I was, but I'm just glad that Beck guy lost because I did not like him. I didn't like him when he was at Georgia. He's a punk.
He's 32 years old or something.
Yeah, he went to college longer than me. And he didn't shake anyone's hand.
Yeah, no, he was.
Who are you, Ed Belfour? Show some class.
Yeah. No, it was hard for me to. I was rooting for Miami. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I shared it on Twitter last night. My uncle.
Why were you rooting for Miami?
My uncle. Yeah, no. My uncle played for Miami. He was a 3-year starter for the Hurricanes.
I thought it was some Big Ten like hating Indiana thing or something.
Yeah, no. So it was just like it's always been like the Tusick family like second team. Like for example, my dad's like the biggest Pitt fan in the world, but whenever his brother played for Miami, they were like in the running for the national championship and lost to Pitt in a huge upset in the 60s and at Pitt Stadium. And it's like, and my dad actually was crying at the game, and he's like, I never thought I'd like cry about Pitt losing to beating a team like that. But
I didn't know Miami was your mistress team. Now I know. All right, that's a good reason.
Yeah, but it's really hard to root for them because you're just like the obnoxiousness that's going on.
The natural
around.
Villain.
Yeah. So I mean, but so
it really was.
It was a great game. So shout out to Uncle Jack, North Allegheny Hall of Famer.
What position did he play?
He was a linebacker.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he was 3-year starter. His highlight was he intercepted. I mean, 3-year starter was big, but he intercepted Steve Spurrier the year that Steve Spurrier won the Heisman Trophy.
Oh, look at that!
So every time we be watching,
coach.
I'm impressed.
Yeah. So anytime we be watching college football and Steve Spurrier was on, there was a lot of words said at the TV in the Tusick houses. Just wrapping up, I'll say this. I think the Steelers are going to pick either Chris Shula or Nate Scheelhaas. And there's something about Nate Scheelhaas that just doesn't he look like the next coach? Like he's 35. He's like young. He looks like he's innovative in it. I don't think the Steelers care. And I hope, because Art Rooney II, this is his first shot at it. He hasn't done this without his dad. So who knows? Maybe he will pick Mike McCarthy and it'll be just this, old boys club. And here we go. We're back to the Art senior days. But Nate Scheelhaas, to me, it's like, it doesn't matter what you've done. We don't want a retread coach. We don't want anything like that. We want somebody that's going to come in, take over the culture. And so if I had to bet, which, hey, you can do that in some places and they might sponsor us, FYI. So if you bet on those things, I'd go with Nate Scheelhaas.
And I will say, listen, I think Mike McCarthy's a really likable guy and he's been a successful coach. My problem with bringing him in, I think I speak for all three of us when I say the Steelers need to rebuild a little bit and get younger and just have an overall facelift. And if you're bringing him in, that means you're going to bring Rodgers back and keep trying to do the same thing for the next couple of years.
Yeah,
I just don't see the point in that. I just don't. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I think the second biggest problem with the Steelers is, I think the first biggest problem is they don't have a quarterback. I think the second biggest problem is they're paying they're paying number 90 $41 million when they have a guy that can replace him that's just as good as him right now. It is half the prima donna, but because Art Rooney III is, he probably walks around with a TJ Watt jersey on around his house. He's never going to get rid
with
of
his ball cap on.
But that, with his ball cap,
yeah.
it should have a little spinning. It should have a little fan on top of a little thing spinning around on top of. He's sitting there. That's what they need to do. They need to get rid of him and get 3 first-round draft picks or whatever it would be to get him and start the rebuild with the new coach right now.
You're not going to get that anymore for him, but I agree with your sentiment. There's just too many guys on that team that are past their prime now. They're just not a contender. They're not. Like next year, sorry, Burrow's going to be healthy. Year. Baltimore might be better. Like it's just not. They need to get a whole bunch of draft picks and replenish. Doesn't have to take 10 years or anything, but you'd like to see something different in the organization, a different philosophy. And if you're bringing McCarthy in, it's going to be the same old thing. I'm telling you.
The only way I could see bringing McCarthy in is if he was the offensive coordinator.
That'd be fine.
And have him be like, somebody was talking about it. I think it was, I forget, Matt Williamson might have been. But I look at it as, have him be the Dick LeBeau to Mike Tomlin. Like Mike Tomlin was the young coach, and you had an old guy that's kind of there, had been a head coach before, but he is just happy to be in the role that he can be proficient in. That's where I would bring Mike McCarthy in. I'd say like, hey, Nate Shieldhouse is going to, be the head coach. He's obviously going to have his own ideas, and you are the offensive coordinator. And you don't have to, worry about going out and talking to the press every Tuesday.
But if you went that, I'd rather have Bruce Arians. I'd rather have a guy that actually knows offense.
That's true. Bruce will be great.
I don't know. I like McCarthy as Pittsburgh guy. He can see me at Danny's Hoagies once a week. I like all that. But as far, I like Mike McCarthy. I don't think he's a genius coach, but it'd be fun. It's like things are better when you like looking at the guy. I never didn't like looking at Tomlin. I was never like, damn, he's our coach. The same way you are sometimes when you look at presidents or you look at like your Penguins coach. Like I'm happy with Muse. It's not like I'm looking at Mike Johnson. I want to strangle him. Or I'm looking, or you look up.
How did I know that was the coach you were going to talk about?
Well, it's like you look up and you see Dubas, like, oh, okay, he's paying attention. It's not you see that the fat drunk, Burke up there. Like I want to take his tie and strangle him.
Yeah, like I was probably never happier in my life than when Bill Cowher was just frothing at the mouth on the Steelers sideline. It felt good, like he's one of us. Yeah.
So you see like special needs Hextall up there. It's like I was he didn't know what he's doing. You know what I mean? It's like I'm so happy that it's like you want. So if it's McCarthy, I won't be like this jackass.
But you still don't.
Like, okay, it's McCarthy. It's like okay,
it's okay. Yeah. And the Steelers don't want somebody that's just okay. They deserve, well, they don't deserve, but the fans deserve something better compared to the crap that we've had, the crap sandwich we've had to swallow. But hey, the Penguins, they really have become the team. And we'll sign off with this, but like the Steelers were the toast of the town for a very long time. Before that, it was the Pirates. And to me, it seems like we've been in the Penguins era for a while, and we maybe didn't know it. But I mean, God, they've won 5 Stanley Cups since 1991, and they when we thought they were careening off the Parkway, they bring it right back, and they're in the division. They're not even a wild card team right now. So I don't know. The Penguins pushing a lot of buttons, and they're not afraid to admit when they make a mistake and pull the parachute and ripcord on Hextall or Johnston. So what I'm saying is, if you're a Steelers and Penguins fan, just be glad that both of your teams aren't a complete mess right now. And one of them, the Pittsburgh Penguins, is on their way to potentially having a pretty fun season. So I don't know, guys. What do you think? How many points we get this week? We got 3 games out west there. What do we want? We're going 4 out of 6. Is that what would you sign in blood for that?
Yeah, I mean, I can't expect to win in Edmonton, but I think they'll beat Calgary and Vancouver probably. Now, of course, things the way they are, usually you get surprised at some point, but I think 2-1's reasonable to expect. I do.
Yeah, 2-1.
Yeah,
Two
give
and
me
one.
4 out of 6. I'll take that. Give me a surprise or loser point in Edmonton. I'd be thrilled. So, but we'll take that, and we'll talk to you guys all next week. We appreciate you as always, and we'll see you on next Tuesday.
Oh, we lost Corey.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Hope it got saved.
yeah, no, shit.